Hello and welcome to Both Sides of the Bars. I'm the host. My name is Glenn Martin. I'm the Vice President at the Fortune Society. At the Fortune Society, we provide reentry services to people who are exiting the criminal justice system, as well as alternative to incarceration programs to keep people out of the criminal justice system. Here on Both Sides of the Bars, we take a look at the criminal justice system and ask questions about what's working and where there's room for improvement. In the past, we've had on such guests as the Commissioner of Correction, the Commissioner of Parole, and other folks who work for government related to the criminal justice system. We also bring in people from the community, people who are working with folks involved in the criminal justice system, to hear their perspective. And then finally, we always have on the show someone who's been involved in the criminal justice system themselves, so that we can also hear the perspective of a person who has traveled through the journey of the criminal justice system and has come out on the other side and is working to change their lives around. Today we have two equally important guests. The first one is Erika Lozman. Erika is a licensed creative arts therapist, licensed here in New York State. She works at the Fortune Society and runs its art therapy program. She has a master's in clinical arts therapy and has worked with autistic populations in the past. Erika has been at the Fortune Society for the past 2.5 years. Joining us here on the show today is also Donnell Hayes, who was brought up on the south side of Queens and currently lives in Bed-Stuy. He graduated from the Fortune Society's Alternative to Incarceration program back in April of 2012. He's currently working on his high school diploma and hopes to move on to go to business class. Donnell has engaged himself in several groups while at the Fortune Society in the Alternative to Incarceration program, but was also a participant in the art therapy program at the Fortune Society. So welcome to both of our guests. Welcome.
Thank you.
Erika, I'd love to start with you as the person who runs the program. Tell the audience a little bit about how does an art therapy group run?
Well, like you said, it's a group situation, and we have between 8 to 15 members that come at the same time. And how it runs is I provide a very structured environment. There'll be materials set up on the table, and each week I provide a theme. And the theme is based around common events, events that has happened in these clients' lives, which gives them a way to talk about things that have happened. They feel very comfortable being in a closed environment and are able to share. And they project their emotions onto a piece of artwork, which helps with resistance. They don't have to be artists. They see this as a way of talking about an object instead of themselves. So it's traditional therapy, but in a very creative and visual way.
I want to hear more about that. Let's turn to you, Donnell, for a second. Tell me a little bit about what you learned from art therapy.
I learned when I went to art therapy, I learned how to be more patient and learn how to relax and take my tasks slowly. And I learned that if I take my time, that my art and whatever task I'm faced with will come out better than expected, because patience will help you get through anything if you just take your time with it.
And do you think that patience itself is something you needed in your life at the time?
Yes, of course, because faced with anything, like if you don't have enough time to think, then you'll make crazy decisions. So if you take your time and you go through all your options, then you will have a better outcome.
And so I know the audience is really curious to get a sense of what this artwork looks like. So I'm hoping at some point we can put up on the screen one of your works, which is called Ambition. Tell me a little bit about this project, how you framed it for the folks in the group, and what sort of direction you gave them.
Sure. So like I said, each week we have a theme, and the theme of this was about archetypes, which are typical representations of people or personalities. And they were to create a flag that represented an archetype of an animal in this case, and how did this animal go through an unfamiliar environment, and then providing this animal a tool for, let's say, rescue back into a safe place. They then had to discuss how does this represent themselves and possibly some obstacles or challenges they had to overcome.
And did you tell them which animals to choose?
No, they were given a series of pre-cut animals and also a canvas, and they were painting and collaging at the same time. So it was a mixed media project.
And so you ended up choosing?
I ended up choosing the polar bear.
Tell me a little bit about the artwork.
I ended up choosing the polar bear because out of all the other animals that was there, it seemed less violent and it seemed more distant from what everybody else was picking. So I decided to go with that, and I chose Sika and that to show that I was coming from a hectic environment within the justice system, and I put my polar bear in a hectic environment because that was the kind of environment I was in. But as you can see in the painting, that towards the end of the end of the painting, that I got back to my normal environment. So I overcome, the hectic environment I was in.
Mm-hmm. You do such a great job now of verbally expressing that journey that you were on. Do you think that's something you could have done before you did this artwork, or was the artwork helpful?
It was more helpful because after I was done, I was able to see more of what I was thinking, and it was more in my face. So it's like I could, like all my thoughts is right there.
Mm-hmm. So Donnell has helped us start to link the art therapy group with his involvement in the criminal justice system. So tell me, how does it line up with Fortune Society's mission?
Well, the mission of Fortune Society is to provide services to help them re-engage into the community. And art therapy is a way to boost the client's self-esteem and to really have them be introspective. So think within themselves and how can they then provide a clear future. And so we're really focusing on their future. A lot of therapies is based on the past, and sometimes these clients are resistant to talk about their past or where they came from. And so with the art therapy process, they're able to re-engage in that. And upon graduation, we lay out all the artwork that they've done, and they can see that they've gone through this process, and to help them really connect back into the community and be prepared to communicate.
And so you're a licensed art therapist here in New York State,
Correct.
which means obviously that this is work that's been happening for a really long time.
Yeah.
Tell me about your experience with this sort of therapy, and does it work on other populations?
Yes, it definitely works on other populations. It works in a variety of settings. Art therapists are usually employed when a crisis or a trauma happens. We've been sent to Haiti and Japan for earthquakes. As you said before, I also specialize in autism, and I work with children who are also having trouble with speaking. And so visual communication is a way for people to communicate without a voice. And so even with this population, sometimes it's hard to speak, and you're able to, again, project something onto an object, whether it's a photograph or even a piece of writing.
And so when I think about the possible difficulties of working with young folks in particular who are involved in the criminal justice system, I would assume there's some level of resistance initially.
Definitely.
Can you talk a bit about that?
Sure. The way that I approach this is every client who comes in usually says, Miss E, I can't draw. And I say, that's great, because this is not art class. We don't do anything that has to do with a contest or a judgment, and there's no critique. And so the way that you come here is to participate, and you're able to freely express what you want, but based around a very structured theme. And so that really engages the client and gives them a feeling of, well, that's great, and I'm here to help. And so I try to make a safe environment for them to feel comfortable.
And so I've noticed at the Fortune Society in the Service Center in Long Island City, the hallways are plastered with the artwork of young men just like Donnell and young women. You have a piece of work, My Family Circle. I'm going to get that put up on the screen. Can you talk a bit about that project and what that project did for you?
Yes, that project, I was the lightning bolt in the middle of the yellow circle, and the yellow circle is more like my safety zone and like my family and the people that I hold close to me. And then the outside of the circle is more like of the hectic environment and more negative people that I was trying to, stay away from. And I just try to stay in my circle with my family, the people I hold close to me, because, they helped me get through everything I needed to get through.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good description. Tell me a little bit about that project and maybe some of the work other folks in the class did.
Sure. It was the theme was about family dynamics, and how do you create an image that represents your family structure and putting yourself within that. And so like Donnell said, some people represented themselves in either a close-knit environment surrounded by family, or perhaps a very separated environment on opposite sides of the page, or a family member being absent. And this provided a way for them to discuss this. And again, when issues come up that they're familiar with, it eases them into being more open, having discussions in the group, people who maybe have lost a parent or didn't grow up with a parent, and how to face those issues that maybe they haven't wanted to discuss before.
Mm-hmm. And so going back to resistance, tell me about your first day in class. Were you thinking, wait a minute, what am I doing here?
Yeah. My first day in class, we had to do art, and I was never really the artist, and I've been trying to even work on my penmanship, so I didn't really want to get into art, but, Erika helped me, and she pushed me to do the art, and she really showed me that if I put my mind to it and I use patience, and my art will come out better than possible, like better than I thought.
And you still seem to hold on to the lessons that you've learned in class today. It's been months since you've been at Fortune, probably even longer since you've been in one of these classes. What is it about this experience that stuck with you?
The experience that stuck with me was that, like, in my life, like, I gave up on certain things because I didn't know how to do it and I didn't have the patience to do it. So after I learned me using patience, the goal of tasks will come out better than I expected. So I've been trying to, use that in my life now, to have more patience.
And tell me about your goals now that you've successfully finished the Alternative to Incarceration program at the Fortune Society.
My goal, I'm currently starting a summer youth job, and I'm gonna be working with kids, so I need to have patience with them. And after that, I'm gonna be finishing high school in September, and I'm gonna be working. They're gonna give me a job, and it's just the patience of getting everything done and having all of these tasks and obstacles at once.
And you seem to be very future focused. Were you always that way, or was there something that happened at Fortune that helped you?
Yeah, it's just everything together just helped me keep going.
How old are you?
I just turned 18.
18, okay, great.
Thank you.
So at the Fortune Society, when you came there 2.5 years ago, was there a reason that Fortune decided that this is something they wanted to do, or how did you land at Fortune?
I landed at Fortune because I saw a posting. Somebody was transitioning, and I thought that this would be a great population that could really benefit from having a different type of voice. Being creative is something that's a challenge for a lot of people. Again, they feel judged, and so I wanted to use this as a method of them being able to freely express. And I love challenges, and seeing them being able to, like Donnell said, overcome these obstacles of feeling like I can't do this, or there's so much pressure, and what is the person next to me going to create, and seeing that just disappear and having them have a sense of pride. And I say, do you want to take this home? And they say, no, put it on the wall. I want everybody to see it and be an inspiration to others, and that's brought joy.
Tell me about the day-to-day in the classroom. What does that look like? Is there 10, 15 people working on artwork simultaneously?
Yes, so we have 4 long tables, and everyone is surrounding them. We have an open discussion about what the theme is for the day, and then I provide the materials. They are all simultaneously working. They're also talking. I provide music as a background, which also gives some additional relaxation. And I go around and individually touch on every person to try to see where they're going. Maybe they need some help, some art direction. They'll sometimes ask me, how do I make this? And we'll work together. And it really employs camaraderie within the group. They'll come together, they'll sit next to the same people, they'll remember what other people did, they encourage each other, they promote each other.
And how long are they in this group? Weeks?
Yes, they're in the group potentially 4 months.
Wow.
So I actually do multi-week projects now, so they get a sense of how long it's going to take to do something, and then again that translates into real life. And maybe they are struggling with, I didn't like the way this looked, but now I'm starting to be fond of it and grow attached to it, and then I want to frame it and I want to put it up, and it's a constant reminder. And Donnell's taken all his work home, we framed them, and he's able to look at them and be inspired and reminded that I went through all these challenges.
And do they support each other with these projects?
Yes, they definitely support each other. Like I said, there's no judgment in the room. They give encouragement to each other, they praise each other, they help each other, especially when we're doing works like the collage, this Banksy project that we did, this free water for him. They helped each other find images or create an idea. If somebody said, well, I want a picture of this, somebody will say, well, I found it over here. And
what was the goal of free water? Because I wanted to ask Donnell about that piece.
Yeah.
We want to put it up on the screen.
Sure. We watched a 2-day film on an artist called Banksy, and he is a graffiti artist from the UK, and what he does is promote world issues but using graffiti. And I had that then translate into the room, and I said, pick a topic that you think is affecting the world, and now use these silhouettes in the same creative way to collage something that you think is very important.
And so tell me about it. Tell me about the project, your thought process as you were working on it. Seems to be the image of a young boy, young man. Tell me a bit about it.
My thought process was we had to choose a world issue, and one of the real issues that I thought about was, the water situation and how some countries don't have clean water, and it's kind of a necessity for you to have. So I just wanted to try to show through my picture that although we have free water and it's kind of took it for granted, a lot of people don't. So I just wanted to try to show that.
And have you been thinking about global issues all your life, or is there something about art therapy that brought you there?
Art therapy, here and there, maybe I see something on the news, but to be able to sit down and think about it for like an hour and 15 minutes and just to try to, express yourself and help.
So having the opportunity to participate in Alternative to Incarceration is a huge opportunity, and you successfully completed what amounts to a very rigorous program, which includes many other groups besides just this art therapy program. Tell me about that experience for you, having this opportunity and what it means to you now.
I was very thankful to have this opportunity and to get a second chance to just start over and through the whole program, and it just helped me to get a second chance and to just...
Yeah, I always say you never know who's watching this program, and so I like to put my guests on the spot and say, if you were sitting here with, say, the governor of New York State, and you wanted to talk a bit about your experience at Fortune, your experience in this program in particular, what would you want to express to them?
I want to express to them that it's a program that's worth going through. A lot of people come to the program and, they don't really want to do it because you got to come 4 days a week and everything like that. But they don't realize that the outcome of them going to court could have been much worse. They could have been upstate for a long amount of years, and I could have been upstate for a long amount of years. But I was able to come to this program, and it's not that bad at all. It was really worth it.
That's good to hear. And so, Erika, turning to you, as you think about the Fortune Society and these programs, there's a lot of people out there, even some amongst our listening audience, who may say, these guys did something wrong, shouldn't they just be in a cell? Isn't that the way to solve crime? And yet you have this very creative project that clearly has taken Donnell and probably many other young men and women from one frame of mind that jeopardizes public safety to where we are now. What would you say to the folks who are skeptics?
I would say that this is definitely a way to reach out to them, to give them a way to deal with issues of, let's say, anger management or stress or anxiety of facing the world or having a label against them. Without this, the recidivism rate could just keep increasing, and it's giving them a positive direction and a way to regroup and have a smaller community. The art therapy community within Fortune is its own community as well. The artists come together, and it's necessary. I also work inside the prisons, and I have brought clients then from the prison community back into Fortune, and so they have a familiar face and a familiar place, and it's providing a safety for them.
What does your family think about all this?
They enjoyed everything. They came to the graduation and they think it was a really good program, and they feel as though it affected me in a positive way. And they enjoyed this stuff at the graduation and everything.
And how about your friends?
My friends, I have friends that go to the program. I have met them through the program, and I have met a couple of friends that I even went to middle school with that ended up there, and they also, finished the program. A lot of them graduated now because they was there before me. So it was positive. It helped them also.
And so what are you doing differently now than you were doing before you were in this program?
Staying out of trouble as much as possible. I'm just trying to focus on what I need to focus on and focus on the tasks that I need to get completed.
Let's talk a little bit more about that. So you say that you are doing things differently, staying out of trouble. What does that mean? Because I'm sure there are a lot of other young men and women out there around your age that are saying, I don't know what that means to stay out of trouble. So tell me about your thought process. How does your day look different than it looked, say, a year and a half ago?
When I was coming to Fortune, I had to come certain hours, every day, and it kept me out of trouble because I had somewhere to be and things to do. And now that I have a job, I also have somewhere to be and things to do. And when I start school, I also have that same pattern, the same daily plan. And it's like when you have things to do and responsibilities, then it's like there's no time for anything else.
So that's part of what's different in your day now, is that your day is just full of activity. And Erika, how many people are in this program on average for a group?
On average, it could be between 10 to 15 or 16 at once, but I have seen over the course of 2.5 years possibly close to 300 individuals.
300 people, wow.
Yeah.
Is this a program that could be taken to scale? Do you think that, I'm sure Fortune sees 3,000 people per year, so you're talking about 10% of the people who walk through the door, maybe less. Do you think that this is something that should be expanded across the agency, or is it just for the folks in alternative to incarceration programs?
No, I think it definitely can be expanded. It could be used for the education department. It could be used even for the employees, or I also work in the treatment services side. We also have the Better Living Center, and we could have specific mental health-based groups, and so there's a lot of usage.
You must be running out of wall space at the Fortune Society for all this great artwork. Where do you hang your artwork these days, Donnell?
The artwork that I have, I hang them in my room, just to have something to see every day, just to remind me of what, the mindset I'm in, and like the mindset I've been thinking about and where I want to go and everything as such. I have a couple, artworks that's in Fortune now, but I have a couple at home also.
So you have artwork on the wall at the Fortune Society. Can you talk about one of those, maybe?
Yes, I have one. Is a quote, and is if you try first, but don't give up. Just keep going till you're successful. And it's been there, and it's like as I come through the hallway and I see it, just a reminder of what I did and not to give up and to just keep trying.
Are there any works that one of your peers might have done in the program that particularly resonates with you that you remember?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Like we all had like different pieces, and like it just helps. It's just seeing them all together.
To see other people's work also. Yeah. And so for the young people who are listening to the show, what would be your message for them who haven't unfortunately had access to this art therapy program? Are there lessons learned that you want to share with them anyhow?
Yeah, it is. Just if you want to just try to express yourself as much as possible, and like, even if you don't have an art therapy class, you could still try to make your own art and then, like, express yourself on the paper so you could try to understand yourself.
And when you look at other art now, do you see it differently?
Yes,
I know it's not an art class, but
Right.
there must be something about, I always talk about this red car syndrome where you buy a red car and suddenly it seems like everyone has a red car because you're paying attention. Are you paying attention more closely now to artwork?
Yes, I try to see the bigger picture now, and like I just look and just try to see whatever message they're trying to send through it.
Well, you're in a city with some of the most amazing museums, so I guess there'd be the opportunity to see tons of artwork and try to interpret the artist's goal in creating that artwork. Erika, there have to be folks from other organizations that are listening to this show. Do you suggest that they implement art therapy programs?
Sure.
And how do people go about that?
They employ an art therapist. I mean, we are licensed clinicians. We can provide mental health services, social work services, counseling services, and so there's a need in different types of environments, and we can adapt, and we're very flexible. And
I would assume funding a program like this must be relatively difficult. Obviously, funding any nonprofit here in New York City is not an easy task, but it would be great if we saw more government RFPs with language in it about the importance of art therapy.
Very true.
And hopefully the show will help move us in that direction. You didn't only do art therapy while you were at the Fortune Society, you did other groups. Talk a bit about those other groups.
I had a group called Street Smarts, which just basically gave you awareness of, sexually transmitted diseases and stuff like that, and things to watch out for, and when you're in the street and stuff like that, like watch your surroundings, and anger management. Anger management helps, like, just to control yourself and your daily.
And what were those environments like? Were they group settings? Were they one-on-one?
It was group settings. Like you have like a counselor there, and you could speak with that counselor one-on-one, but then you also have a group of other people there with you that you could try to share experiences with.
And was that a comfortable space to be in? I mean, was Fortune, I just want to hear a little bit more about whether Fortune was supportive in this role, and whether you felt comfortable in a room with colleagues, peers, having such important discussions.
Yeah, so I was very comfortable. We could sit there and talk about anything. The time I've been there, I was able to sit there and talk to anybody that works there. Even the people there, because it's not like a bad environment. And I still come back there. you know, just to come sometimes, just to see the people there, see my counselor that I had, come see Erika.
Right, so even after you finish your programming, your formal programming at the Fortune Society, you still continue to visit the agency.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that says a lot about your experience there in that case.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of programs there that I've been thinking about also trying, you know, just like the job readiness, and they have like college and stuff to prepare you for that. So I was thinking about even coming there, you know, to help me out.
That's great. So you go from being in trouble, finding yourself at the Fortune Society, to now thinking about your future and maybe even coming back to help find a job and to move on to college. I'd call that advancement.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Congratulations to you. So Erika, any projects that you're working on now with your current group that you want to share with the audience? We have a minute or so to go.
Right now we're doing a mosaic, and each client is working on their own tile and combining two symbols that represent where did I come from, and how do they interpret from? Is it their criminal past? Is it their family? Is it a culture? And working through that is very interesting for them. They'll sit and look at the paper for a very long time, really thinking about things that are important.
That's great.
We've also done projects where they have to be blind to talk about disabilities, and how do they face that, and how do they overcome that, and then how do they appreciate what they have.
No way, you leave the good stuff for last. We're going to have you back on the show to talk a bit more about the current works that you're doing. Right. But I'd like to thank both of you for being on the show. I think it's very exciting. Sounds like you've learned a lot. And Erika, it sounds like you create an amazing environment for these young folks to change their lives and turn their lives around. And, you know, it's part of what Fortune Society is known for, doing creative programming to get people to change their lives and believing in the power of people to change. And I think that you are the personification of the work being done at the Fortune Society. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you to both of you for being on the show. And thank you to our audience for tuning in to Both Sides of the Bars, a show where we take a look at the criminal justice system and ask questions about what's working and where there's room for improvement. To learn more about the Fortune Society, visit www.fortunesociety.org. Or if you're a person in need of services, just show up at the Fortune Society at 2976 Northern Boulevard in Long Island City, New York. Thank you.